everybody. I am back in snowy and cold Michigan. Not thrilled about it. But we are in week 4 now. So this week we're covering economic inequality, wealth, poverty, and work and unemployment. These are, again, with an 8-week class, you have to kind of decide which topics make sense to go with each other. This week, your first essay assignment is due. I'm just going to dive into that. So I feel like the material will just seem very, just like everything in this class, I feel like you all will have a lot of thoughts on these topics. And I want you to remember that your thoughts are very relevant and they kind of guide your philosophy and your the way you think about these things. But I want you to go into all of these topics with an open mind for the research, how other people are thinking about these things, and in that spirit for this week's assignment, I have you write. No, not the quiz, the essay. Um, so basically, I'm sorry I have to be like so kind of heavy-handed on this about the AI stuff, but please, please, basically what I'm saying is do not give me an essay that was written by AI. I do not I work with AI. I'm very familiar with what comes out of AI. Like literally, I'm implementing AI projects at my job in nonprofit legal aid. Like I was at this whole conference I was at was all about AI. Like I know AI, so trust me, I will know it when I see it. Um, Also, the way that this is structured, this is not really something that you should have AI. Like, I want you to use these tools. Use OpenAI, use ChatGPT, use Google Gemini. And actually, since you're all students in this class, just FYI, you get a year free of Google Gemini Pro if you go to their site and sign up through the students thing. If you just like Google that Gemini student promo or whatever, you should get a year free, which I encourage you to use. So please, by all means, use it as a research tool and ask it questions that you may not know the answer to about, or like if you want to put in like, why do some people believe the United States is becoming an oligarchy? If you want that for background information, by all means, use it and like have a sort of conversation with AI to help you understand the topic better. But then what I want you to write about is, do you agree that that is a statement? A lot of people are making this argument. I'm sure you've probably heard this sort of out there in the wild of the U.S. becoming an oligarchy. I will leave that to you uh, if you agree or not. And that's what I'm asking is, do you agree with the sentiment or not? And um, do you favor a form of redistribution? And how do you think that your social history, which we talked about in the first week, and your social location factor into that? And how do you think your family members would um, respond to that? And I'm just thinking, like, for myself, if I was to run through these, I don't even think oligarchy is the right word anymore, not to like muddy the waters, but so yes, short answer, yes. I mean, this is like the curse of having a PhD, I guess, in a topic is yes. In short, I do agree, but I think we also need a better vocabulary because I feel like oligarchy doesn't quite capture what's going on because it's like all of the elements of it, oligarchy plus a dystopian technocratic future where like powers are going unchecked and like decisions are being made by AI and it's having big impact on people's lives. Like the I don't know if you all are familiar about that huge unemployment thing that happened in the state of Michigan. This actually happened like 10 years ago too, where they used an early AI, like a machine learning algorithm, to flag people that were suspected of unemployment fraud. And it was 99% wrong the first time around, like 10 years ago. State of Michigan, Michigan Senate decided to run this again using generative AI this time. So this was like post pandemic. Um, Once again, huge, almost entirely wrong. It was like some 95% wrong, and people got um, all these notices that they were on the hook to repay their unemployment benefits during the pandemic, and they were turned out to all be wrong. The first time around, somebody took their own life because of this threat that came from the state, and so this is like a a serious outcome for a whole family, whole community of people. You know, every individual has a community around them, because of this technocratic thing that happened that misidentified somebody. And anyway, so back to the point. Yes, I do agree that the U.S. is becoming an oligarchy, which is, in short, the definition that power and wealth are concentrated in the hands of very few. I mean, I was part of the Occupy movement. I thought it was true then. I think it's true now. We are the 1%, or we are the 99%. I mean, um, do I favor a form of redistribution from the video? I do. I also think that we need to factor AI. I think that I was just having a conversation with my brother-in-law about this. I think that, like, with all of the gains that are being made in productivity in I think we have the strongest argument yet for a universal basic income. That, um, if you think about it from another perspective, like, we're so at some point along the way, becoming an influencer and content creator, or content creator became like a sustainable way of making income, like, putting stuff on TikTok, Instagram, selling junk on TikTok shop, and just promoting little products and things like that. um I think in the same way that, like, I think you could make an argument that all of that little amount of work that we're doing, like when you go to McDonald's and you use the kiosk to ring yourself up, or you go to the grocery store and you do the self checkout, or you call your pharmacy and you're in a AI automated system, and you basically have to do all the work yourself. I feel like that's a pretty good argument. That's kind of similar to the argument of why content creators needed to get paid, because they were contributing so much to the platform. I feel like, and you can disagree with me on this, but my opinion is, I think that we're doing a lot of work on a day to day basis. If you think about what you do from the minute you wake up to the minute you go to sleep, you're doing your job, but then you're also doing some amount of work for somebody else, whether if it's a corporation, or if it's like, in the way of like self checkouts and all of these kiosk things, and, all this kind of business. So I think if you, like, cumulatively take that all up, it's probably worth like $1,000 a month or something. I don't know. I don't know what the right number is, but I think there's a way that like, we are gonna kind of figure this out, that there's a way to redistribute wealth, because productivity is going to the corporations, and, like, they're making, huge profits off of these things, and, like, our groceries are getting more and more expensive, and, like, just living. I have two kids and a family, and, it's really hard to get by, and it's hard to pay your bills and stay on top of things and go on a vacation, and heaven forbid if you want to ever retire and not work until you can't physically work anymore. I feel like we all are entitled to something. If we're going to be doing all this work for the corporations unwillingly, I feel like we're entitled to, like, a small piece of it. I don't know what the right number is, but I think it should go in that direction. My family members, I feel like they would probably agree with this. I don't have any conservative people really in my family, or really like super aggressively capitalist people. My family are all immigrants, and we're all kind of grew up poor, working class. I feel like that, going back to the part B here, that's kind of my social history. I feel like, or in social location. Yeah, I mean, I feel like, growing up working class or poor, you kind of see the struggles of everybody, and see how big of a difference $20 can make, in like a weekly budget. Or, like, if you miss the bus, how much that can throw almost your, like, if you miss the bus one day, if you're trying to get to work, how much that can throw your whole week off, or even potentially your whole month off, because, like, you lose your shift, and that could end to losing your job. And, it's has such ripple effects when you're, like, just scraping by. Anyway, I would then go type this all out, put it into ChatGPT if you want. Take your essay, put it into ChatGPT, tell it find any grammar mistakes, by all means, I encourage you to do all that. But please, please do not go to ChatGPT and copy and paste this assignment and tell it to spit out a 3-page essay because it's gonna look like garbage. And I do read these things, me personally, and so I'm going to know it, and it's gonna really piss me off. And please just don't do it. That's all I'm asking you. So I have the rubric criteria here. It's also in the syllabus. Um, I want the essays to be about 3 pages in length. I'm asking you to do citations. This is mostly for I want you to be in the exercise of doing citations. I don't expect very much. Cite the textbook. I'm making finger gestures here. Cite the textbook and cite the YouTube video that I linked to. That's really all you need. If you do have additional sources, please cite them. Um, if it's the census, you can ask ChatGPT how to make citations. That's a super easy thing for it to do. Um, yeah, that's. I'm not going to use plagiarism detection software. I am the plagiarism detection or the AI detection software. The AI detection software is garbage. It doesn't work half the time anyway. So I know what writing should look like from a intro level class at community college. Please don't give me something that's like, you know, written that looks like by somebody like me, like somebody that has a PhD in the field, because that's not what it should look like. So anyway, that's I'm just gonna leave it at that. Please let me know if you have any questions about this assignment or anything else in the class. Send me a message here through the Canvas Messenger because that goes directly to my phone because I have the app on my phone. And if you don't, I recommend getting it. It's actually a really good app. It's very helpful and you can see all of your deadlines because everything's like in the calendar and stuff too. And so that's very helpful. So anyway, I'll leave it at that and hope you're all staying warm out there. And I will talk to you all soon. I hope you have a great week. See you later. Bye.